1969, that's 1969, class reunion. It is the dedication of the class of 69 memorial at the Calkins Nature Center, which is a part of Ellsworth College. And it's good to see so many faces that I still recognize. You know, I can remember clearly in 1969, reading in the Isle Falls paper that the class of 1919 was having their 50th reunion. And I thought, man, I think there was like 8 or 10 of them going to be there. Man, what a bunch of old people. You know, and here it is. It's one evaluation that I can see from the audience that I was right about. Truthfully, all look very good. It's amazing that, you know, we've put these bodies through a lot in 50 years, and there was nothing that I owned 50 years ago that I own today. I wore it all out. Anyway, I want to introduce the committee members that worked on this in the reunion. I'm just going to have them stand up.
Okay, now there are people here not standing up.
Come on. There's somebody standing up that...
Oh, you are? Okay. Sit down and stand up.
Stand up and come forward. And the key part of this is Mr. Robert Hill over here.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10 years ago at the 40th reunion, we decided to remember classmates that had passed on by planting a tree on their behalf. And the first thought was to do it at our old high school, and that offer got turned down. And so we turned to Hardin County and looking for a park that we could perhaps do that in. And that led to finding Calkins Nature Center and establishing a relationship with the staff here, Chris over there, and others that have came and gone, and Ellsworth College. And from that evolved this whole Arboretum concept. And as this is part of Ellsworth College, this is Ellsworth College's outdoor classroom. Our Arboretum is being used by many to become educated on the various subjects that are taught in that way. Plus, grade school and high school kids are brought in from all over and to learn about nature. And so we've become a good part of that. And 5 years ago, we decided that we would get a tree planted for every member of the class. And that concept developed into the Arboretum on the hill that we're dedicating today. It's been quite an experience. It's been a lot of work. And it has really come to fruition. You're gonna love the tour. Okay, I'm gonna introduce Laura here. Where are you at? Come on up. I'm gonna turn it over to you. And we'll go go through this and get the show on the road.
Let's do
There you
it.
go.
Let's do it. Thank you. Before I start, if you didn't get one of these and want one, we have more. So I'll leave a few up here. There's some out on the table in the entryway also. So it's great to see so many people here. And I wasn't listening to what Thurston said, so he probably already thanked you for coming, but I thank you too. No, anyway, so we have a speaker this morning. His name is Chris Barber from Calkins Nature Area. He got his BA in biology with an emphasis in ecology and systematics, and his MS in biology from UNI, so he has a master's, very impressive. He spent 2 years as a research technologist in rangeland studies for the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. He's a veteran of 7 years in the Army National Guard, thank you. And currently he is the interpretive park manager here at Calkins Nature Area, and he's been here since 2012. He specializes in tall grass prairie ecosystems. Chris and his wife live in Alden, and they have 2 little girls. So, Chris?
Thank you, Laura, for the introduction, and thanks to Thurston and Robert and all the committee members and all the class members for your hard work that you put into making this happen. This project was not, as Thurston kind of alluded to, it wasn't the easiest project in the world to get completed. We've run into some snags along the way. The area that the Arboretum was planted into, initially we found out that that was enrolled in CRP, and we missed out on a couple of years because we couldn't do anything with it. And then we had ran into some delays and some snags with our museum expansion, and that kind of took up a lot of staff time and pushed things back. And then we had some staff turnover, so, but long story short, we made it, we got through it, and I think I hope everyone is really pleased with the outcome. I know that we are. So we planted this arboretum in kind of the style of an oak savanna, which was appropriate for that site. It's kind of on the top of a hill, it's a little bit drier. And an oak savanna would be that, historically would have been that transitional zone between the tall grass prairie and then the more heavily forested areas that would have been along the river. So this site fits in really well with that. Some of the unique characteristics of the oak savannas are dominated by a variety of species of oaks and hickory trees and a few other minor components, but they're trees that are fire tolerant. And so we talked about going back 50 years. If you go back about another 100 years past that, Iowa was covered in about 90% prairie, and they would have routine, sometimes annual prairie fires, wildfires that would have went through. So these trees that were along the edge of that forest had to be adapted to that fire. So the oaks and hickories have thick bark that can tolerate it, and it keeps out some of the more intolerant, fire intolerant species like your maples and basswoods and cottonwoods. So I said tallgrass prairies covered 90% of the state about 150 years ago. Right now, of remnant, untouched, unplowed native prairie in the state of Iowa, we have less than 0.1% left of our original prairies. The prairies we have out here are reconstructed prairies, they're stuff we planted, but we can never fully recreate that true prairie ecosystem. We only have about a quarter of the native species that would have been there historically. But as rare as that is, to have untouched, high-quality remnant prairie, having an oak savanna in Iowa is, a good quality oak savanna is much more rare. We don't really have a percentage, but those were a lot of areas where there was just a scattering of trees, and those were the ones that were easy to get to at the time of settlement. So they were harvested to build houses. They were cleared for farm. You know, they could only need to take a few out to farm the ground, or they were heavily grazed, and a fair amount of damage was done through grazing. In fact, some of the best oak savannas that we have left in the state were sites that were grazed for quite some time and are now in the process of restoration. So that is an ecosystem that was greatly underrepresented out here at Calkins. We have prairie, we have forest, we have wetlands, we have the riparian zone along the river, but we didn't really have much for an oak savanna. So that's one thing that really attracted me to this project, is that once this matures, that we will have, that's kind of one of the last ecosystems that we really didn't have here at Calkins. And it will be here for generations and generations to come. I'd also like to say, just kind of on a more personal note, I can't thank this class enough and this community enough for their support over the years to Calkins Nature area and to continuing environmental education for the youth of our county and the entire population of the county. I had my 20-year class reunion here about a year ago. So, yeah, we're a little ways behind you. It feels like we're catching you for some reason. But I'm taken aback a little bit by the dedication that this class has to each other and to the community after 50 years, that you guys are still such a tight-knit group and you come together to support a project like this and your fallen class members. So I'd like to commend you guys for that and being kind of an inspiration to me and makes me kind of think about things that our class can do for our community back home. So again, thank you guys for that.
Now we're going to hear from Dr. Jessica Mahoney from Ellsworth Community College. She has a very impressive bio as well, so I'm going to give you just a little information on her. She studied ecology, evolution, and environmental biology at Purdue University. I mean, all these words come together, I've got to practice because it is so impressive. She participated in the honors research program where she studied mate choice selection in zebrafish. I'll bet nobody else. She also volunteered as a wildlife rehabilitator with the Wildcat Creek Wildlife Center. And when she graduated in 2011, she accepted a position at the Hardin County Humane Society, where she restructured their wildlife rehabilitation protocols. In 2012, Jessica accepted a doctoral candidate position in the Environmental and Conservation Sciences program at North Dakota State University. She graduated with her PhD in July of 2017 and accepted a position as program coordinator and faculty for the Conservation Technology program at Ellsworth Community College. So, and there's more, but that's what we're going to hear today. So,
good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful day outside. I'm excited that all of you get to take a tour on the tractor a little bit later. And I am so happy and honored to have been asked to speak at the Iowa Falls class of 1969 Arboretum dedication ceremony this morning. Maybe you figured that out from my time at Purdue in Indiana, but I did not grow up here in Iowa Falls. I've only been a part of this wonderful community for about 2 years. And before that, I grew up in a small town in northern Indiana. While there, I learned that to make a small town thrive and prosper like Iowa Falls, you need dedicated community members and leaders. And when I was asked to speak today, and I was given a little bit of information about what all you have done, it became very clear to me that you are those dedicated community members for Iowa Falls. And I have the privilege of speaking here today because all of you care so much about your community. And you care so much that you wanted to make a living, breathing, lasting impact on it. So not just Iowa Falls, I learned, but all of Hardin County is going to benefit from the trees in this arboretum. Your generous gift and memorial will help provide habitat, contribute to our clean air, and help with overall conservation, management, and beautification of our county for generations to come. That's super exciting. As the head faculty for the Conservation Technology program at Ellsworth Community College, Calkins Nature Area is my one-of-a-kind outdoor classroom. When I have students come to Ellsworth, they're interested in our program or any of our programs, I always tell them they need to make a trip out to Calkins, and just so they can see what we have available to them to learn from. During a typical school year, I bring approximately 150 students to Ellsworth throughout the year. And then on top of that, my conservation technology students and my wildlife, fishery, and forestry students have the opportunity to visit Calkins many times during their education at Ellsworth. We do a lot of projects out here with the staff at Calkins. We help with some of their naturalist programs like the monarch tagging that's happening next week. And so I'm really excited to be able to utilize this expanded arboretum in our curriculum. And I've been talking about it with a lot of my colleagues, other math and science instructors, telling them that they need to get out here and bring their students. Some of the ways that I plan on using the arboretum in our curriculum include a tree identification unit for all of my students where they are required to identify all of the native trees of Iowa. We also have a habitats unit and a biodiversity unit that we will utilize. As Chris was mentioning, the Savannah oak is a very unique habitat that we've been talking about with our students, and they see it on paper and they see it in videos, but now they'll actually be able to see one close up in real life that they've never had before. And so that also allows my students that are really interested in management and conservation to have a hands-on, real-life opportunity to see how a Savannah oak habitat was reconstructed and then how they plan on managing it for their years to come. So I'm really excited, and I hope to be a part of this community for many, many years. And as part of that community, I look forward to seeing the Arboretum grow and mature. And so to conclude, I know that was short, but I'm excited for you guys to get out and see everything out there. So to conclude, I just want to say thank you for, first of all, making me a part of your community, and also for your beautiful and memorable and meaningful donation to our community. So thank you.
We'd like to remember these, our deceased classmates individually. And so what I'll do is read the name, and if there's any family member, friend, whatever here that would like to share a story, or just let it be known that they attended, or if anybody in the room knows or knew these people and want to share a little something, I invite you to do that. But if you're family, you're here, and you're not comfortable standing, that's fine too. So the first one is Sue Ackerman, and she passed in October of 1995. These are going in alphabetical order, not date. So Sue Ackerman, 1995.
Her son is, let me see if I get this right. It's his son just got married, and her son's grandson is what I'm trying to say, graduated from college just recently. So
Oh, good.
she only has one boy.
So, her grandson. Okay,
So
good.
she'd be the great grandson.
Sue is a friend of mine too. So, David Allen, May of 1964. Vic Allen, November of 1994. I know he still has some family left in Iowa Falls. Greg Bitters. Baker. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Greg Baker, April of 2012. Greg Bitters, February of 2018. Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. June Chaplin, and if memory serves, she was the very first classmate that we lost in June of 1986. I remember that, and it hit hard because we were too young to die. It just wasn't supposed to happen. Charles Clemens III, December of 1996. Linda, did you have, Linda Pierce, did you have a memory of him that you shared with me? You can't remember, right?
Well, he was just in my elementary class. I just remember he was really big into Cub Scouts, and his mom was the leader.
That was it, Cub Scouts. Yeah, good, excellent. Gail Craig, November of 2004. Any friends knew him? Larry, I'm skipping one. Merle Christensen, November of 2015. Okay, thanks for coming. Anything you want to say? You're not required.
Well, we got tons of memories back here.
Well, that's good.
We had to grow up with them.
So how are you related?
We're his sons, and this is the grandson.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
Is a really, really good musician. Drummer like that?
I know.
Yeah.
Kyle, tell us about your musical past.
Oh,
You have a dad's talent.
yeah, but I'm primarily a guitar player, so I do some drums as well.
So you came by that naturally.
Well, you grew up with them playing distant black Sabbath and everything. How did that happen?
It's nice to see you.
Okay, I'm sorry, Larry Deibler, is that what? Larry Deibler, August of 2015. Okay, sorry, I almost missed
He's
you.
raising my hand for almost every person.
Oh, I apologize. You should come up and sit in the front row.
No. So Laredo, as we call him, moved out to Arizona. I don't know, I have no memory of what dates this may encompass, but he moved out to Arizona and just randomly the Renaissance Fair was there and we went to the Renaissance Fair and I spent a day with him. It was really cool. And then completely lost touch with him until I found out that he had died.
Yeah.
But we had a cool time. And he was a
Good,
guy.
good. That's nice. Amber Howell, June of 2005. See? I gotta keep my finger off this. I'm gonna get this right yet. Margot Hale, November of 2011.
She was one of our bunch at the North End, and so if you look at the ones that have passed away, June, Sue, Greg, they were all, started out at the Blanchard School up at the North End. Through the years, we were all pretty close. I started, because Margot had a sister, my sister's ages. I knew Margot starting at 3 years old. And she would be at her house during middle school for Judith and Hales, the Bishop.
Yeah.
We were all there together, and it was sad when we heard that Margot had passed away. And thanks to one of the classmates that happened to see it in an obituary, or I don't know how long ago we've done it. But her family is spread quite a ways out, so.
Is she related to John Hale?
He's her cousin.
Yes.
But their dads were brothers. John's dad and Margot's dad were brothers.
And as you say, it's nice when people let us know because it was a big class and it is hard to keep track of people, but now with social media, I think it's definitely improving in that respect. Amber Halley, June of 2005. I know her sister lives way down in southern Iowa, and her sister and her sister's husband and my husband were friends. We were all friends in high school, so that there was a slight connection there. Ron Hoffman, March of 2006.
I remember his basement of his parents' store, a racetrack that was in the basement. The racing cars, the hobby store.
The craft.
Right, Hoffman's Hobby.
Crafts. I don't remember the exact name. Yeah. Yeah, they
Spent hours down there.
Oh, what fun. I think that store kept very busy. Randy Jadley, December of 2017. That was a tough one for me, along with a few other people here. Randy and I both worked at the A&W in high school, and he was just so much fun, you know, and he got along with everybody. He had the biggest smile, and he was short like me, so it was nice to talk to somebody eye to eye. But he was a good soul, and so I'm sorry to hear that he had passed away. Mark Johnson, April of 2016. I thought maybe his mother Marge would be here. I had a chance to talk to her a few times, not too long after Mark died, and she took that very hard and missed him, and then Mark's father died a couple of years later, so, but I thought he was so good looking. I had the biggest crush. I told her, but I never told him. Danny Kelly, January of 1998. Okay. Wade Nelson, October of 2005. Oh, somebody's got to have memories of Wade.
They brought some pictures.
Well, he was popular. He was our class president.
Class joker.
Go for it.
I brought some pictures of all different class reunions that I took.
Oh, dear.
To find them. And there, David's smiling, and Wade are prominent in some of them. If you remember, it was down on the bottom.
The lower level of the Elks.
Yeah.
Are you going
You get to see certain areas of them.
Oh, at least you prayed.
But he was, Wade, he was just a lot of fun no
He
matter
was.
what you did with him.
Yeah.
He was a good musician. He played in a band, I remember.
Yeah.
He was just a good guy.
Yeah. Excellent. Somebody
I
else?
was just
Sorry.
going to say, a lot of people in the class will remember musical lights, and Wade was a master of ceremonies of musical lights. And I just kind of always thought of him as the master of ceremonies of our class.
Yes, he was a good one.
Right here, Sherry.
Okay, go ahead.
He lived in Denver when I lived out there around where I graduated from college, and he was manager of cars.
Used cars, yeah.
And he and I got together a few times, and we did a little bit more than what they did.
You didn't look for grass.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I heard that Wade was a used car salesman, and I thought, he's going to get rich. He could do that. David Oppold, December of 2014. Biggest smile. Dave was a kind kid, man. I think a bit of a free spirit. He ended up, I don't remember, I'd have to look it up, India or someplace like that. He traveled anyway. And I think Linda mentioned to me in one of the emails that at catechism class at St. Mark's Church, if there was anything going on, he was a part of it. But I always liked Dave. He was just a good friend. Jim Palmer, September of 2010.
He was an amazing artist.
Was he?
Yeah, amazing.
There's so much we just don't know about people.
He was also really, really good at gardening.
very
He
good
had a place
artist.
on the east side, he planted up the whole slope. It was absolutely
Wow. Impressive. John Pomeran, June of 2015.
He's got that family here.
Here today?
Yeah, raise your hands.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thanks for coming. How are you related? We'll just,
Well, that was his wife, and my brother, and his family, my kids. I was his daughter.
wonderful.
I
Yeah.
know this is sporting event.
Love sports. Yeah, oh, yeah, with the grandkids, that's great, yeah, yeah. Excellent.
The thing people don't remember, John kept me awake going to paramedic class. Every once in a while, I'd drop one eye like I was sleeping. He'd punch me in the side and say, Jared, wake up, we gotta get there alive.
Okay, now I've got to find the rest of my list, and I might get a little.
Up and to the left,
I'm sorry?
up and to the left.
Up, okay, well, that will make a difference. Up and to.
Yeah, I've got the vision.
We don't have superb service in here.
It's a hot spot.
Page 2. So easy.
Up and to the left.
Nothing,
Up and to the
nothing
left.
to it.
The other left.
Gary Crowdy, May of 1995. Go for it.
Who, me? Which one?
Oh, Lily, go.
Oh, okay. So I was just in Des Moines visiting my best friend from college, and we were driving around this area of beautiful homes, and I reminded him, or told him, that when we were planning the senior prom for the seniors when we were juniors, Gary got the idea that we should build this castle inside the gym. And I'm not remembering if it was paper mache, but water was involved. But he talked someone into allowing us to drive to Des Moines to get ideas and do research. We piled into his car multiple times and left school free of charge, no problem. And all we did was drive around, and these homes reminded me of what we drove around and was getting ideas while we were just out of school. Came back, and then if we didn't build that castle, and you're right, the forest and all that, inside the gym. I don't know how you guys built it. He convinced anyone to do that.
And water in the gym was just not done. I can't believe they let you use water in the gym.
I know, but they
Because
it was
no water.
amazing. But Gary had it.
But it did work. Yeah. And it was
What happened was the tubs, they were big garbage cans to dip the paper mache stuff, been left there. They had a cover bush with another piece of paper underneath, and it leaked through over a weekend, and when they came, we had to actually, have the money to repair the basketball court.
But it was a great prom.
Right.
It was a great prom.
There was a great
Sherry?
Gary and Tom, is it Tom Fisher?
Yeah.
And I were in a little trio band together.
Really?
I don't know if Gary played the guitar or if it was, I think it was mine.
What was your name? Did you have a name? The
I
band?
don't think so, it was kind of together.
What did you play?
My voice.
Interesting.
Last night, Linda was telling me this opportunity might come up, and so I was thinking, well, apparently when I walked out the door, I just redid the hard drive. But, no memories, but I can guarantee you, if I was doing something I wasn't supposed to, Gary was with me.
Very creative.
Yeah, and I do appreciate him for that. He put something in me of being willing to just reach out and get to know.
Good. Well, that's a nice way to try things. Anybody else? Gary?
He did like to build things. His folks left town for a weekend, and I don't know, it was me, him, and I don't remember who the other culprits were, but he had us building a pond in the backyard.
Yep, in the backyard.
Yep.
That's cool. Yep.
As digging a hole?
Well, as in digging a hole and cement and all that kind of stuff, yeah. So I recall his parents were not appreciative of the work, and it got filled in, so.
That was a pretty ambitious project.
It was.
Yeah.
Marla Sylvie, June 2014. Jim?
I think Marla left when we were juniors, didn't graduate with us. But I remember she was in Mr. Recanaugh's 8th grade algebra class with me. And probably geometry the year before that, and she was so smart. I was so jealous of how easy it came to her. And I think she eventually moved to Chicago. And I was in Chicago in 1985, walking down the sidewalk, and here comes Marla Sylvie walking the other direction, and I immediately recognized her. And I turned around and went back, and I said, "Are you Marla?" And she looks at me like, "Who are you?" And she had no recollection of me at all.
So she might even believe you were a classmate.
Anyway, she was a nice person.
Yeah.
Dave?
I got the opportunity knowing how, like Jim said, she was very smart. And so I used to seek her out in study halls because she helped me with my homework. Not enough to get me into the honor society, but enough to get to the school. But she was, like Jim said, extremely smart in any subject. So
Does anybody know what her occupation was when she, I mean, you know, because with her being so intelligent?
Well, she would have recognized Jim in Chicago, everybody.
Okay. There. Oops. I'm not gonna mess with this. I'm not gonna make it worse. Should have probably. So simple. Thank you. Okay.
It's my thumb, not your thumb.
Yes, sometimes I give my phone to the kids to help, and they say, I don't know about this, probably because it's so old. Billy Simpson, November 1966.
Well, Billy Simpson, Merle Christensen, and David Allen, and I used to all play on the east side of Iowa Falls. That's where we grew up, and played on the east side school. And now they're gone, and the east side school's gone, and I'm getting a little nervous.
Yeah. Don't go yet. Yeah, it's hard to believe it sometimes, and I didn't know him, but, so he would have passed away before we graduated, so. Junior high. Yeah, 66.
I think David Allen was one of the first of our class.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't go through that. I said June, but, June Chaplin, but I didn't go back and
Well,
research
she
the
was
ones.
after we graduated.
Yeah, exactly. So, and
I just want to mention what his sisters did for our class
Good.
last night. Some of you know this, but we were at the 503, and his sister and brother-in-law owned that, plus a couple other establishments in Iowa Falls, and they wanted to do something when they found out the class of 69 was coming in, so they made the sandwiches, and just because they wanted to honor us and charge us no money.
yeah,
Last night.
there was plenty of. Yeah, I wonder how they felt when you told them we have, what, 60 people coming?
Well, I think they thought, well, you know, we're probably going to make money on the drinks.
Yeah, that was very nice of them,
It was.
and I'm glad you mentioned that. Dennis Teese, September of 2006. I keep thinking and trying to talk at the same time, it's not working. And Jackie Wood, August of 1992. This just seems so, I'll bet Lily has something to share.
So Jackie was my best friend in 9th grade when we took the trip to the state capitol.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was, again, recently in Des Moines, and I looked up at, we went up in that dome, and I looked up there, and I went, there's nothing to go up there again, not happening, it was, but, and at our 10 years ago, not our 10 years ago, her daughter and grandchildren were here, but I don't think they're here today. Guess not, they was spoken of. But she was just so much fun.
Yeah,
That's all.
I remember
We had fun.
Jackie, yeah. Well, that's the end of our list of lost members, and I think it's like you say, Pete, kind of brings reality right to the forefront. I'm going to go from memory here, and I'm going to cite Robert Hill and quote him loosely. These people were part of our childhood and part of our past, and they went through experiences with us, and no matter when they passed away, we just look back and realize they were members of our class, they just did not get to finish the journey.